Hello, everybody. Oh my god. Oh my god. Damn, y'all are loud tonight.
Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back to Trans and Transparent.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, are you talking to me or the audience?
The audience.
Okay.
I can hear them.
Yeah, how y'all doing?
Telepathically.
Oh, come on, telepathically, honey.
Telepathical.
Okay. I'm very happy. A lot of people enjoyed our last episode, and it was really fun to record. So it feels back. What? It feels good to be back in the studio with fresh energy and new energy.
Yes.
We're ready. We're here for a really good episode. We have a lot of fun stuff in store for y'all today.
Definitely. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Sit down, relax, and let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Tell me how much you love me. Tell me you'll never doubt me. Tell me how much I changed your life. Say you can't live without me.
I feel like okay, y'all, coming into this, today's been a chaotic day.
For you.
For me, absolutely. I have been working all day, and I had a lot of different things to do at work. And then I had to rush here. I took one of these electric scooters, ran over here, basically, in crazy city traffic on that little electric scooter with 3 bags on my body, carrying shit to
It's
record.
dangerous.
That's how I live life. Hey, you know.
Yeah. Okay, wait, before we begin, I just want to show you something because I saw this video on TikTok
Okay.
and
Why did I sound like a robot? Okay. Okay, show me.
I don't know if you saw it, but I'll show you first and then we can record the sound.
Yeah.
This video was from Say Essence on TikTok.
So you're telling me I've been the only one calling T-Boys action figures this whole time? You haven't been calling those boy toys action figures? Diva, you're a doll. That's an action figure.
Oh my god, I love that.
Right?
Because I've gotten her stuff a lot. Like, I've seen her a lot on TikTok. She's really funny.
Okay, I've
and she
never
has a
seen
lot of really good, like, you know, talking points and stuff
Okay,
about
nice.
transness.
But anyways, I just thought it was so funny because I've heard you say like the dolls and people say
Yeah.
that to like trans women, but there's no word for trans men.
Yes.
Like with the same sort of vibe, you know?
Yeah.
So I think like action figures, it's so
I
awesome.
love action figures. Oh my god.
Yeah. It's a little bit long though, but still works.
Yeah. But it works. I like it. Come on, action figures.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm gonna start calling you that.
Thank you.
So I was
Action
out with
figure
I was
realness.
out. Okay. I was out with my action figure the other day. You know. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
Honestly, I like it.
Lovely. All right.
So y'all, we're in for a really fun episode today.
Yeah.
Today we have decided that we are going to be talking about dating and sex life as a trans person.
I'm kidding.
Hey.
It's just dating though, I think.
Today we're going to be talking about
Sex can be another episode.
Okay,
but-
sex can be another episode. Let's do that one.
Yeah.
Let's do dating. Today we're going to be talking about dating as a trans person.
Yeah.
And Benji put up a little questionnaire. No. What? What would
Answer.
you call it? Like a little questions and answers thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like
On,
a Q&A thing.
Yeah, a Q&A thing on Instagram. And we got a lot of responses about what people want to know about dating as a trans person. And,
Yeah.
maybe stuff that people need some advice about and so on and so forth. So today we're going to delve into this very big topic because there's a lot to say.
Yeah, definitely.
And I definitely have a lot to say.
Yeah, to like just a little background though, like I have not dated as a trans man, so me and my girlfriend got together before I knew that I was trans and before I came out, so I have had her my entire trans life. And you have been dating though a lot, so you have a lot of experience in that. So we're gonna
Yes.
dive into it and let's begin with the first question.
All right, let's go.
Did you experience gender envy? I always mistake it for attraction.
That's a really good question,
Yeah.
I feel like. However, I will say this kind of applies more so.
To like pansexual,
Yes.
bisexuals. So we're both straight.
Boring as that is. But
Yeah,
yes.
but I can definitely like think sometimes because like my entire For You page on Instagram is basically like shirtless men.
That is true.
Because I use it for like inspiration and just like the gym stuff. But sometimes I can really look at someone and be like, oh my God. And then I just get worried that I feel something like attraction,
Right.
but then it's really just gender envy or just like I want to look like you. But I'm like, do I want to look like you? Do I want you?
But that's also the funny part, because I feel like also there's very much so a thing of like, once people start medically transitioning, I know that this is a huge phenomenon that like a lot of trans girls end up liking girls even though they've never been attracted to girls before. And the
Really?
same thing goes for trans men. I know it's really common for trans men.
Yeah, to start liking men.
Yes,
Or
exactly.
realize that they like men. But I didn't know it was the case for trans girls
Yeah,
too.
some for sure. I think it's like it's a little bit of a combination between like the gender envy that we're talking about and also that kind of attraction of like just really being so or like so appreciative of these different attributes, I guess, of a person that you just end up being attracted at the end of the day. I personally cannot say that I've experienced that very much. Like,
have you never like looked at a woman and been like, I'm confused?
Not so much confused, more so I'm just like, God damn, that is a fucking gorgeous woman.
Okay.
But I'm not like, to me, I'm not like, oh, I want to jump your bones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I do get that feeling with men. I'm not going to lie. I can definitely look at a man and be like, wow, I would do very unspeakable things with you in that room by ourselves.
Yeah, okay, we know.
Anyway.
But yeah, that didn't happen to me either. Like I was so scared because I didn't want to like men. I was like, oh, what if this happens? And I was with my girlfriend, but then never happened.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it is very common, and like, we're not the best people to ask. So
no, I think this question is not necessarily like up our alley. So let's go to the next one.
But I guess it's very common though, so maybe that's something.
For sure.
How did the testosterone affect your feelings? My ex told me he can't feel anything and broke up.
Really?
Like testosterone does make you a little bit more like numb. Like you don't feel intense emotions, I would say, in the same way. Like you're not as emotional about things. But I wouldn't say I feel less love or that I feel less attraction. If anything, I just feel more attraction. And I just can love, like I can give my girlfriend more of my love because I'm truly myself. But then, or she also told me that she feels that I'm more like less attentive of her emotions, and I respond with like more like empty answers basically.
Right.
Because like I remember how emotional I used to feel, but then now I just don't feel that way anymore.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say it affects your love or attraction for someone else.
And I mean, I'm sure that must be different for every person also. And I can imagine for some people, depending on your hormone levels and kind of like where you're at mentally before getting on testosterone, for example, it must be very different. Like,
yeah, definitely.
I'm sure for some people it does change a lot to the point where they don't maybe like
I don't
feel
think,
as much.
Yeah, but I don't think if you're in love with someone, I don't think testosterone makes you not in love with that person anymore.
Yeah, but maybe they just meant like in general.
Yeah.
Didn't have to particularly be about like being in love or not. But yeah.
Is it nicer dating a cis person?
Depends
Depends on what you mean by nicer.
I guess in a sense that really does depend. I personally, like from me personally, I'm not gonna lie. For me, it's not so much about the. I mean, to be fair, I mostly date cis men.
Yeah.
And nowadays, most of them are straight also.
Yeah.
Or like,
But I feel like that's also because there are just more cis men.
Yeah, for
On
sure.
the planet.
Yeah, no, for sure, 100%. But my point being that like, for me, it's not so much about the cis or trans part that varies. For me, it's a lot about their queerness. Like, I do feel a lot more comfortable with somebody who's queer in some type of way. Like, whenever I've been, or like, when I've been with cis guys that are straight, I've always felt a little bit like, okay, I really have to put on a show in a sense. Or like, I really have to be heightened to the point where I feel like I'm almost becoming like I don't feel like a person. I feel more so like an object almost sometimes, which is not always the most fun feeling in the world. And I noticed a lot of times when I've been with guys who are bi or pan or whatever, that I feel a lot more at ease in a sense when I'm around them, because
Yeah,
I feel like I can be a little bit more myself, or a little bit more like I don't have to think as intensely about everything I'm doing. And like, especially when you're spending a lot of time with a person, I feel like that does actually make a big difference, whether or not you can be just very chill with somebody and not have to think about everything all the time.
Yeah.
However, I also do love the fantasy of being fully like in that energy and also just like,
But like a straight.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I like that too. But it takes more to get into it or like feeling comfortable with that person.
So
to start
technically,
with.
then it might be easier to be with someone who is queer or trans.
Yes.
Just because they can understand you better and you might feel safer around them, you know. But you can definitely still find someone who is cis and straight, maybe.
Oh, 100%.
But you might just have to help them understand a little bit better.
And then, that also comes to like whether or not they're respectful or not.
Yeah.
You know, that's a big part of it too.
Yeah.
So it's very layered.
How difficult was it to let people touch you? Did this trigger your dysphoria? This is more of a sexual question though, but
that's okay though. I
Yeah.
think that's fine.
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, for me personally, it wasn't that much of an issue.
Yeah. Well, everyone's different.
Everyone's very different. I don't think that it has been an issue for me that much. Sometimes I can feel a little bit like, you know, if somebody's really persistent on like being on one body part, let's put it that way. That's not my favorite thing in the world. However, if it's just like part of it and we're just enjoying each other's bodies or whatever, having a great time, that's fine. I don't mind. It's just, I think when it becomes like kind of an obsession about the one thing that I guess like people see as like, what do you have between your legs? Like that type of vibe. Then I'm like, okay, that's getting a little bit too much.
But is it like, oh, we have to stop right now? Or is it just like, oh, I'm a little bit uncomfortable, I'm going to change positions?
For me, it's just a little bit like, yeah, okay, this person's annoying.
Yeah.
More so like I just get annoyed, but I'm not like.
Do you have anything, because I also saw another question kind of similar. Do you have anything that the guy you're with can do to help you with the dysphoria and make you feel more comfortable?
I think for me, I do enjoy somebody just feel like making me really feel at home with, or like, you know what, like I just love feeling like, okay, he's tending to the things that make me feel feminine and feel at ease and in my own body in a sense, and
Like
that
touch
could
you
be
like a woman.
yeah, no, but literally, yeah, like more so that, or like kind of like, you know, for me, I really enjoy when somebody I'm dating or somebody that I'm, you know, meeting up with, whatever you want to call it. I like to feel very small. I like to feel, or not small, but like I like to feel very like petite, dainty. Like I like to be able to live in my feminine energy, you know what I mean? And like just enjoy that aspect of being around somebody. And that's like simple stuff, like somebody maybe wanting to help me carry my stuff if I have a lot of bags with me,
In
or
bed.
no, but okay, but now I'm talking more generally.
Yeah, I can tell.
Right?
It's funny.
But but that also like translates like in bed. What is on that? No, but like in bed, like I like, you know, I like being caressed. Like I love when like if he holds me, like, and makes me feel comfortable and makes me feel safe and held and like taken care of, like in that sense. Like I like that kind of feeling. I don't like feeling like I'm kind of like floating by myself and he's just doing what he wants to do.
He's just in the corner jacking off.
You know, no. That is not my favorite thing in the world. You know what I mean? So like I think that's what I kind of like, that helps me feel in it and not make me feel like I have to put in the energy to make myself feel comfortable. Like I like when somebody tends to me and makes me feel at home with that person. Yeah. Or like even just small simple things like, oh, I think you look so beautiful, or like saying small stuff like that can be really nice and very helpful. And I think a lot of what I've noticed is a lot of trans people do need a little bit of that confirmation sometimes, because I feel like if he's not saying anything, I know this goes for cis people too, but like if somebody who I'm with is not saying anything or not like giving me any kind of energy back, I'm like, well, because then I start going into my brain about, okay, does he see me like this, or does he feel like this about me because he sees me as less of a woman? Like, you know, understand what I mean? So I think that reassurance and that confirmation helps.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, I get that.
What about you?
So like, I would say I'm the opposite, so I'm very uncomfortable
Yeah.
with the touching. But I'd say the most important like thing in that case is just to communicate with your partner what you want, or like where you're okay with her slash him slash whatever the pronouns they have, where they touch you. Because like for me, for example, I don't want to be touched on like my private parts, and not like on my legs, not on my butt. Like I don't like any of those areas. So she knows that, and she just treats me like her boyfriend in bed, basically, and that's just what helps. Like also how you talk to each other during sex, like what words you use, depending on if you're talkative or not. Some people are not. But if you are, you know, you can always like discuss what you want them to say, or what do you want them to do, where you want them to touch you.
So you want her to call you daddy?
No, but something else that helps for me is what my girlfriend calls my private parts, because some people are okay with saying like the terms of what it is, basically, but like T-dick is something that a lot of trans guys use instead, which feels a lot better and doesn't, you know, give you dysphoria, or give me dysphoria personally. So stuff like that definitely helps.
I get that. I mean, everyone's different, right? Like we've talked a lot about how like your dysphoria, my dysphoria is quite different, for example. Like we don't necessarily, the same things don't trigger us. Yeah. So for me, for example, I'm a very open and just like chill person in that sense, or I think it doesn't affect me as much when I'm with somebody. And I think I have a lot more dysphoria about like, for example, going out on a date. That for me sometimes is harder than actually doing stuff with somebody.
I feel like that's crazy. Good though that we're so opposite of each other, because like I have such a hard time with like sex. It's one of the hardest things for me, like as a trans person, and it's what gives me the most dysphoria out of all of the things. So when we do have an episode about like sex and these things, I think we can dive deeper into that, and you know,
100%
things that help me and things that you experience as well. You know?
Yeah.
Moving on to the next question.
Yeah, let's get back into the more dating aspect of it.
Is Lola trans? Sorry.
Oh my god.
That's my girlfriend. She's not trans. So she basically, her name is Shalmi, but also Lola in Ballroom. That's why it's not two people. So I don't have two girlfriends. Imagine. Any tips for dating when you don't pass yet?
Yeah, 100%. I think that there are a lot of things to think about. Like, in a sense, you have to be kind of aware, and you have to kind of think about how the people that you're talking to see you and treat you. One thing that really helps me is that, like, I don't meet people without them knowing about my transness. Like, I'm just very open and honest about it. Even if I don't have it necessarily in my bio, in my dating profiles, for example, I would still, within like 5-10 messages of talking to somebody, if they seem like a normal, decent person, I would tell them, because at the end of the day, a lot of it has to do with like safety for myself. I don't really care about the other person in that sense. Or like, of course, transness comes into play for the other person too. But my point of it being more so, if I'm meeting somebody and he doesn't know that I'm trans, let's say like online, but then maybe like, let's say you have really passing photos online, but then you meet somebody, and then like, in the situations where you're not as passing as you would like to be, like pre-hormones or whatever, but maybe they think that you're trans, or maybe they think that you're cis, but you're obviously not, obviously, but like, and the case being that you're trans, and then you meet them, it's important for them to know that before, in my opinion, so that you don't end up in a situation where they get pissed off and try to, you know, do something towards you. Because if they don't want to meet you because you're trans, there's no point in trying to like
But
make
it's
something
definitely
happen.
not like impossible to find people.
No. Oh God, no. Like I met a lot of people even before when I was, when I had not gotten as far in my transition, and it hasn't been an issue really.
Yeah.
Like, of course there have been times where I met people and like it didn't like work out. Let's put it that way. Or like maybe they weren't feeling it and maybe I wasn't feeling it either. And that's okay. That's also, you have to keep in mind it's a normal part of dating, right? You're gonna meet people and it's not always gonna click. And that's okay too.
Yeah.
I think for me what helped is just kinda like dress up for yourself. Make yourself feel very comfortable. Make yourself feel at home with the way you look. Make yourself just try to do things to make you feel comfortable and confident. And if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't.
Yeah.
I've met a lot of people, who know that I'm trans and who it hasn't been an issue at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, it does help for sure. Like I like to tell them beforehand because it makes me feel safer. And also, if I already know that they're interested anyway, then I can focus more on the date rather than focusing on whether or not I pass meeting them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that kind of just takes that like out of the equation of the date.
Yeah.
So I think that's my most important tip. Obviously, everyone's different, but yeah.
I also feel like even if you are passing, it would be best to say that you're trans. In my opinion, because what if you like start dating, they don't know you're trans, you hit off really well, and you don't know if they will want you after you come out to them. So just to save yourself the heartbreak if that happens, I think it's just good to be fully honest from the beginning. But do what you want.
Of course, and I mean, this is also coming from a privileged place. Like, of course, I understand in certain places you can't really talk about it in that way and you can't really be open about it in the same way that we can here. So I don't want to disregard other people's, like, a life, because I understand that for some people being stealth is very important.
Just if you have a choice, then...
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
And then I just also want to note, because there was another question that said that they feel that it's impossible to find someone when you're pre-hormones, pre-T, and I just want to say that it's definitely not, and you'd be surprised a lot of people don't care. I mean, you can meet someone through your friends at school, through your job, and hit it off, and then they won't care, hopefully, that you're trans, or
100%.
just also when dating online. Because a lot of people who are like pansexual, bisexual, they don't give a fuck.
No, literally. And also, dating a person who is trans before they get on hormones is basically just investing in dating a hot person in the future.
Yeah.
And that's how I always like to see it. And I know I really like that. Like, it's kind of a fab little saying. It gave me like when I heard it the first time anyway, it gave me a little bit like, you know what? Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah,
it is true.
It is true.
You just become hotter and hotter every day.
Exactly, literally,
So-
because you become more and more yourself, and that builds the confidence,
Yeah.
and that's what's hot at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Honestly,
Yeah. So, it's a bonus.
yeah.
How do you find someone online, in real life, etc.? I feel like my preferred way is in real life.
Oh, you are one of the few. You are one of the people, and this goes for a lot of my friends because screw y'all bitches, who just end up in a damn relationship. You just find somebody super quickly and then it just happens. I don't understand. This is not my lifestyle. This is not my life. I don't understand how y'all do it. But yeah, obviously, in person is very nice. It can happen.
Like it's for some people it's definitely difficult depending on how social you are, how what people you tend to hang out with. So it's definitely also a great way, like using Tinder, online like dating apps is a great way to find people as well. Like a lot of like my friends and my mom, for example, found their lifetime partners on fucking Tinder, so definitely works too.
100%. I mean, my favorite dating apps at the moment are definitely Hinge, mostly Hinge, and then Tinder. Tinder's a little hit or miss. It can be nice, it can be ew. I used to have Grindr, but honestly, I feel like it doesn't fit anymore, and I'm tired of it. So I actually deleted it a little while ago, and it feels great. Not gonna lie.
I feel like you delete it every.
Yeah, I do.
every
But
few months.
however, I always feel the urge to go back. But now I'm like, no,
Okay.
I haven't wanted to go back whatsoever. So it feels great. But one other app that actually surprisingly, like, it's such a nasty app in a sense. Like, it's not a good app, but it's surprisingly good for the dolls. I'm not gonna lie
Grindr?
to y'all. No,
I'm kidding.
Imagine. No, but Badoo.
Fucking what the
Fucking Badoo. But I'm not gonna lie to you.
How do you say that with like an American accent?
Badoo?
Badoo. Because we're like Badoo.
Badoo. I don't fucking know.
Badoo, Badoo.
Badoo. Skibbity bop. What? Skibbity toilet? No. Let's not go there. Anyway, but Badoo.
Badoo is great.
Yeah, sometimes it's actually really
Okay.
nice. I get a lot of matches on there. A lot of conversations. Actually, people are very like open and having a great time on there.
Okay, so,
So,
for the dolls,
you know.
but for the action figures, maybe not.
Maybe not. For the action figures, I don't know. I mean, you're in a relationship, so
Yeah, I don't really know
Yeah.
either. I feel like the trans mass community is sometimes a quiet community.
yeah, sometimes.
So I haven't actually heard that much about that. But actually,
I feel like y'all are popping on Instagram though. I feel like y'all slide into people's DMs.
yeah, probably.
I think that's
I feel like that's the way.
Very often
the
the
comments,
thing.
DMs.
Mhm.
Also,
step on my neck type of comments and yeah.
yeah. Elijah, like a trans man content creator.
Mhm.
Like we've been talking a little bit, and we recently played online together. And he told me about how he met his girlfriend.
Yes, now I remember.
Yeah. So he has a trans girlfriend, and he told me that they met each other because she was working at Starbucks, and he was gonna order, and then he just like
Mhm.
asked for her number through like some working person there, and then they just went on a date, and now they're together.
That's so cute.
So I was like, can people have those stories? I thought that was
Right.
just like in movies. So like if you meet someone in real life, take a shot, like ask for their number.
Mm.
They might be trans or they might be accepting of trans people. You never know.
You never know, honestly.
How long did it take you to feel like you deserve to be loved and sexually comforted?
I'm sorry, that's so deep. Damn. I was not expecting that. Honestly, it's a bit of a complex question because in a sense, like, I definitely have struggled with the idea of feeling loved for sure. Like, there's been a lot of stuff in my life that has made me question whether or not I'm good enough, whether I'm worth it, or, so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, I've tried to just not think about it in that way and just like meet people. And if I vibe with the person, I vibe with the person and they show me love, then I'm going to try and accept that in a sense. You know what I mean? However, it's not always the easiest thing to do either. So I guess I'm still working on that myself. But I'll let you know when I have an answer. No, but for sure. I think what I've been trying to focus on is doing stuff for myself and building up myself as an individual and working on my confidence rather than trying to magically find an answer to that question and be magically ready to date somebody, if that makes sense. It's a very hard thing to answer.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I'm not there mentally right now to answer that deep question. So
No, it's kind of too much right now.
yeah.
Somebody asked us, well, I guess this question is going to be kind of more geared towards you. So they want to know positive ways being trans has impacted your relationship. Because I feel like it's very often that we talk about how being trans is kind of, or like, makes it harder to date or yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But there are obviously really amazing things about being trans. So are there any things that like you've thought about or that maybe Lola/Shalmi has commented about that like, she appreciates about you being trans in a sense?
I mean, she doesn't like cis men, so there's that.
That's very valid.
So for her, it's really important to have someone who like gets it, you know. And since I've lived as a woman most of my life, I understand, what it's like in society as a woman. So I feel like that definitely helps her feel more understood and heard, I guess. But for me, I guess the only thing that I feel is positive is that, I feel like I also understand her and I don't feel like confused. I feel like I can comfort her when she's like on her period, for example. And I also understand a lot of her like private parts, It's always a bonus, in bed. So yeah, it feels nice to fully understand her, but then, I think for me it's gonna take a while to fully see all the positive sides because I'm still in the, I hate being trans part.
Right.
But I feel like it definitely has a positive impact. It's not just all negative things, Is that because I'm trans that I can't pull? I'm tired of weirdos who see me as a porn category.
Ooh. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. I get that frustration a lot.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
Because people definitely treat trans people like objects a lot of times in dating, unfortunately. Like, it's a sad reality and a sad truth.
It's just like a fantasy.
Yeah. Like, the amount of fetishizing men that are up in my DMs is actually insane. Like, people who only text me or only want to meet up with me because of the fact that I'm trans. Not because they want to know me or get to know me. And that even goes for dating, too. Like, I've noticed guys who want to date a trans person just because they're trans.
That's
in a sense. Up. So then they don't even put any effort into getting to know me. Like, a guy that I dated like a year and a half ago kind of gave that. It kind of gave like, I just want to date a trans person.
Like, is that all I am?
That's okay. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, like, there's so much more important and fun stuff about me as a person.
Yeah.
Like, being trans is a small part of who I am.
Yeah, the transness is like 1%.
You know what I'm saying?
If that,
Hello, that's the thing. So that's what kind of gags me with, like, how men approach that topic.
Yeah.
However, I will saying that, there are still a lot of people out there who will date you for you. And the fact that you're trans is not going to stop somebody from dating you if they're actually into you and want to be with you as a person.
Fully get the, like, frustration, though.
100%. It's really annoying. And you know what's even worse is dating, because this happens to me a lot of times. I'll talk to somebody for a while, we're getting along, we're having a great time, yada, yada, yada. And then, like, I don't have the suspicion that they're with me because of the fact that I'm trans, But then they'll say that one thing, or they will make that one remark, or they'll let it slip. You know what I'm saying? They let it slip somehow, and then I'm like, oh, that's what this was. Yeah. Okay. And then for me, it's an immediate chop.
Yeah,
like, I'm like, no, I don't want this. Yeah. You don't want me for me.
I feel like they also have to, learn somehow that you can't fucking do that.
No.
Nasty. Do people make a big deal out of not having your gender's downstairs thing?
Oh.
I feel like if someone knows that you're trans, they're not going to care.
No.
And if someone accepts you, like, even if you're trans, that's not going to make a big difference. If you date someone or if you talk to someone who's like, I don't want to date you until you had, the surgery, then that's like, get the fuck out of here.
I feel like that's more common with, like, straight cis men who, like, are talking to a trans woman, maybe. No, but I definitely can get that question, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I'll get the question asked, like, oh, well, after I tell them, like, oh, I'm trans, I'll get the question like, oh, well, are you pre-op or post-op? And I'm like, well, what, and maybe I'll let them know. And then sometimes it's giving, well,
I feel like
never mind.
It's okay to ask that question if you've already been dating for a while and maybe you just want to know, or do you feel like it's never okay to answer that question or ask that question?
I mean, I personally, I don't mind the question.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. More so, okay, I hate when people who I have no intention of meeting in that way ask me that
Yeah.
question, because then
Or just like strangers or
Exactly.
someone who you just met. And you're
because
like,
then why the fuck are you asking me that?
Yeah.
It's none of your business.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you what you have between your legs, bitch. Honestly. However, if it's somebody that I'm talking to and there's the intention of something happening, then I don't mind.
how do people react to the fact that you're trans?
I mean, honestly, some people don't expect it. Some people do. Some people,
Would you say it's like 50-50, 50% of people ghost you and don't care? Or, I mean, ghost you or like are not okay with that? Or in 50 or more or less?
I'm not going to lie. I feel like sometimes I can be kind of fab and they just don't care. Anyway, a lot of times people don't mind. I think sometimes they kind of have a suspicion, maybe, if they're talking to me. And then,
But then that's also, I guess, then because they just don't care that you're trans.
yeah, exactly. A lot of times it's not a problem.
Okay. Well,
Sometimes it is.
I don't have
but-
that much to say about that.
Yeah.
Do you get to hold hands?
Oh,
No.
never.
Uh,
Hold the other thing. What?
what?
What's that? Look over there.
What about T for T?
Hey, I mean, if that's up your alley, you go for it, girl.
Yeah.
Or man, or whatever.
Yeah.
You
I
are.
feel like sometimes maybe that's even like nice or
Yes.
nicer to be with someone who understands you fully. But then I guess, everyone has preferences. Some people don't want to be with trans people. Some people prefer to be with trans people. Some people don't care. So,
I'm very open to it personally.
yeah.
But
So you've never been with a trans man?
No, not fully.
You transphobe?
Oh my god. No, but I'm definitely open to that.
Okay. We
yeah.
have to wrap it up. I feel like this was so fast and we have so many questions that were not answered.
Yeah, but we can do another one of these.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll talk about this topic a lot more again.
Yeah. Leave a comment on Spotify or just send us a message if you would want like longer episodes, because we could definitely do that so that we have more time to talk.
Yes.
But let us know, and also let us know what you thought about this episode. How did you like it?
Anyway, y'all, I just want to say a big thank you for listening in to this week, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Yes, definitely.
We've had a great time talking today, and I hope we get to talk a lot more about this topic. I know it's a big topic, and I know that a lot of people want to know more about this. So trust and believe. We will talk about it again.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't you worry. But for now,
Don't you worry about a thing.
toodaloo, kangaroo.
We love you. Bye-bye.
Love y'all. Bye.
You can never find somebody do it like me. I'ma turn it all the way up, cause it kamikaze. Go ahead and try, baby, you are gonna see that you'll never ever find somebody do it like me. You can never find somebody do it like me. I'ma turn it all the way up, cause it kamikaze. Go ahead and try, baby, you are gonna see that you'll never ever find somebody do it like me.